Hey guys, what's up? I know it's been a little while since I've posted, and it probably seems that my videos are coming out a little less frequently, which is true. Have been working on a massive work project, and it is going to continue until mid-June. So there's no lack of commitment on my part. I just simply haven't had the time, and I really hope to get back on a normal schedule of production in terms of how many videos I'm getting out a month. So please bear with me, and I thank you for your patience. This video I filmed several weeks ago, and I had promised to put it out as a companion to the video I did about Canada's involvement in the Apollo space landing. That said, it's coming out now, and I hope to be posting one that I just filmed tomorrow to make up for it. All right, my friends, it's good to see you again, and enjoy.
For the first time ever, the United States has become the first nation to walk on the moon.
Houston, I'm just going to try and get this golf ball. Huh? Uh-oh. Ottawa, we have a problem here. Sorry about that, eh?
What's up, my Canadian cousins? Welcome back. I just recently did a video about the Canadian participation and the Canadian engineers' participation in the Apollo moon landings. And it's very timely because just last week, Canadian astronaut Jeremy Hansen was chosen to be the first among the first crew of the Artemis II mission to the moon. Which is going to happen very soon. They're going to actually fly to the moon. And I mentioned in that video that it's a huge deal because most astronauts who have ever flown in space have never left Earth orbit. So Jeremy Hansen will be joining a very select few group of people that have ever left Earth orbit and that have ever traveled to another interstellar body. Maybe that's not the right word. Interstellar would mean between among stars, intrastellar, whatever, another space body. And so, you know, my little funny introduction, which was from an older Molson Canadian commercial, is not very far-fetched. It is very realistic that within the next few years, Canadian and American astronauts will be sitting on the moon together enjoying a beer. Maybe not quite the same way that was depicted in that commercial, but you get the gist. So let's look and see what Jeremy Hansen is, why he got picked. There's an interview with him from CBC News, and what his thoughts are about the upcoming project and his role in history. All right, my friends, I will see you on the flip side. Oh, and check the link in the description for the companion video to this about the Canadian participation in the Apollo moon landing project. And specifically my reaction to the video, the moon landing and the maple leaf. Okay, I'll see you, my friends, on the flip side.
Once again, I'm thrilled for you. I mean, how are you feeling after a day? It's a big day. How are you feeling? How are you taking this all in?
Yeah, I mean, I still feel kind of the same. It's still sinking in a little bit, I think. Comes in stages, I suppose, but I'm excited about the mission. I'm excited about the opportunity. I love the people I'm flying with. I love the mission profile. I'm going to get to see the moon up front, or up close. I'm going to see the Earth from the perspective of the moon. It's a lot to take in, to think about. So I'm excited. I'm happy. I'm grateful. I'm humbled. There's a lot of that. Mostly it's pride, and like this is kind of what's motivating me. You know, right now sharing this is just I want to make sure Canadians feel that pride. They see themselves in this. Like, this isn't something that like a few people did. This is something we did as a country. You have to be united with a big vision to bring a country like Canada to the point where you're making such an incredible contribution, such a valuable contribution that, you know, you're asked to participate in a mission like this. And, you know, credit to NASA too, like I talked about yesterday, but that's great American leadership, making space for another country to contribute and come along. But kudos to Canada for having the guts and the courage and the innovation to get us to this point. I'm really proud.
Canadians don't really know a lot of what they've, what we have contributed to the space program. Why do you think?
So that was a point that was made in the earlier video, and I had said that I think that most of my viewers are very well informed, and you probably do know. But apparently that's a common theme. So she's asking the question of Jeremy, and let's see what he has to say.
I couldn't really tell you why. I know a couple of traits that I see in myself and other Canadians. We are sort of a modest country. We do keep ourselves a little bit small sometimes, and so we maybe don't celebrate our wins maybe as loudly as we could. And this is a big win, and like literally, the contribution
As loudly as some people? I wonder who he's comparing themselves to. I also think that, people just don't care that much about the space program anymore. There's just a lot going on here on Earth that, is wrong, and that we've got a lot of problems to solve here. If you look at it closely, there are scientific, medical, and other reasons why space exploration is important. And it's also important for, I think, just the human psyche, because we are by nature explorers, and we have to keep achieving. We can't just exist. So, but I understand why some people think that the space program's a waste of money that could be allocated somewhere else, more useful. I understand all of that. Having said that, I do think maybe that's partly the reason why the world is, it's also old news, and there hasn't been a major achievement. We haven't gone beyond Earth orbit since the early 1970s. So, I'm not sure how excited people are to know about the science that happens on the International Space Station. And perhaps once Artemis II flies to the moon, that will reinvigorate people's interest in space again.
Like literally, the contributions we are making as a country in the space program in general, they're pretty big and they're significant and they bring value. And so we're not done. That's what's important. Like to me, like Artemis II is historic. It's going to be amazing. And it's just another step. And where are we going next? And let's set some bigger goals. Eventually we'll have a Canadian eclipse this and walk on the moon. And then eventually we'll have a Canadian on Gateway and off to Mars. And we'll just keep going. But always focused, and I know you understand this stuff really well, but always focused on bringing the benefits back to Canada and to humanity on the surface. Everything we're doing has a strategic focus to make sure it brings benefit back. So space robotics, we've invested for decades in space robotics. We're a world leader in space robotics. Space robotics is being commercialized right in front of our eyes right now. It's becoming important for serving humans on the planet because we use space more and more. So we have to make sure that we enable that industry to have a strong foothold in Canada, because that benefits us with more innovation, more jobs of the future. Food security, delivering remote healthcare. Both of these have significant overlaps with space exploration. We're going to need food if we want to live on the moon and go to Mars. We're going to need to deliver remote healthcare in a new way in space. We can solve that with our international partners in space, but use it on the planet. So these are areas of focus for us. We know there's huge benefits to come from bold, brave decisions and goals for Canada.
I agree with that, and if you follow at all what the space programs have done and the translation of the technologies and the science to human benefit here on Earth, there's been a lot. And is the cost benefit worth it? I don't know. That's a different discussion, but I like what he had to say, and I generally agree with it.
You personally, you were recruited in 2009 with David Saint-Jacques, and you've had a lot of patience. How have there been any challenges for you over that time? But because I know you've still been busy, training, but have did you ever go, come on, let's go?
Yeah, I'm human, of course. You know, it always comes down to expectations, right? And so I think when I started the job, the expectation sort of was I would fly in 5 years, and then that wasn't possible. It wasn't going to happen. It wasn't an opportunity for me to fly in that time frame. And then it was, it just was always like a few more years away, always a few more years away. So you have to adjust your expectations, but it's all in your head. I mean, the other way to look at it is just like, wow, like, would I do anything else? Not a chance in the world. Like, I love what I'm doing. I'm working on an amazing team. I get these great challenging experiences. You and I have talked about many of them over the years. I lived in a cave. I lived on the ocean floor. I'm solving spacewalk problems with this team here on the ground, fixing the alpha magnetic spectrometer. I mean, I've had some incredible experiences. And at the end of it all, I've always known I was going to fly in space. There's never anything, that's absolute. You could lose your medical or whatever, but I've always known the intent was that I would fly in space. That's pretty special. I'm never going to take that for granted.
Explored caves, lived on the ocean floor. I wonder if these were all part of psychological tests to see if he was up for the challenge of what is to come. I could never do it. I'm a bit claustrophobic. I don't like staying in an elevator for too long with a crowded elevator. Oh my God. I flew from New York to Hawaii once, and that was about as much as I could take.
Awesome. I need somebody to high five right now. I might high five your camera. All right.
Did you ever think you'd go to the moon?
Yeah, it's always been in my list of possibilities, but it was not a high probability.
It's amazing.
So I'm going to read you a quote that you had in a 2014 CSA video. And you said, "For as long as I can remember, I was fascinated by space exploration. I looked at a photograph of Neil Armstrong standing on the moon, and I wanted to see what it'd be like to leave this planet, to look at it from beyond." Mm-hmm. I mean, have you really thought about that experience and what you might feel?
Yeah, I can imagine it. I see it in my head, like looking through the windows of the Orion capsule, through the moon, back of the Earth, and I can't wait to see it. I mean, I know it's going to touch my soul. I'm going to have like a tremendous perspective on this mission because I will have some time in Earth orbit. I will see the Earth up close, like from the kind of space station perspective, and then we will go into a higher Earth orbit, really high Earth orbit, like tens of thousands of kilometers looking back on the planet. And then we're going to leave, and the Earth's going to get small in the window, and the moon's going to get big. And eventually, I just think that is like a pretty rich experience. In fact, the Prime Minister called last week to speak with my wife and I and just congratulate us on this mission. And he was remarking that only 24 humans have ever seen the full Earth, have ever gotten far enough away to see the entire marble hanging in space, and I'm going to have that opportunity to see it. That's pretty amazing.
Not only that, he'll be the first non-American to ever see that. Not that that really matters, but I feel happy and proud that a Canadian will be the first other. If you've ever been traveling, which North America's gorgeous, and there are just some amazing sights to see. Of course, Niagara Falls I've been to, and on the Canadian side is certainly nicer than the American side. Standing in that horseshoe area, it's amazing. If you've ever stood on the precipice of the Grand Canyon, it's just indescribable. Pictures never do it justice. Never could, never will. And so, but a lot of people have done this. And it's just that, some amazing, almost spiritual experience seeing nature in all its glory like that, and all its amazement. And so few people have ever gotten to see the Earth from that distance and from that perspective. And no amount of pictures can ever do it justice. And this gentleman, Jeremy Hansen, is going to be able to experience something that, God, maybe I would put my claustrophobia aside to be able to do that. If they drugged me and knocked me out until we got there, yeah, sure, let's do it. but it's so, so, so cool. The fact that we're going back to the moon, the fact that, you know, I like that it's an international cooperative effort. I think that's just better for the world. And he seems like just a great down-to-earth guy, very smart guy, fit guy, has all the makings of a good astronaut, and he deserves it. Can't wait to see it happen. And I really hope that the first, I think Artemis III is when they're going to be landing humans back on the moon, and I really hope that a Canadian is among them. And look, guys, I'm not just kissing your butts, and I'm not pandering. I sincerely feel that way.
Yeah. Have you had any personal challenges along the way? Because it's got to be hard on your family, right? Being away, well, you're here in Houston, you're based here in Houston, but you're busy training, going to the caves of Sardinia and, you know, off the Key West and Key Largo. And so have there been any personal challenges for you with your family?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, the one thing that I think is obvious to me, you know, everybody I talk to, the human existence, they're all the same. Doesn't matter if you're an astronaut or anything else. We all have those same challenges that you just have to work through in life. You know, I have an amazing family, really supportive family, but that doesn't mean it's easy. Like life is hard. The only thing you can be guaranteed of in life is you're going to face challenges, and it's just it's just your mindset on those challenges. You know, are you going to get in that mindset of this is your new forever, or are you like, no, this is just happening and I'm going to move on from it?
It's
and
human.
That's what I try to do. Sometimes I get stuck a little bit, but that's how I try to move through life and teach my children to move through life.
Have you thought about what it's going to be like training on Orion, because you have 18 months or ish to do it? Have you any idea what the timeline's going to be like for that, and how exciting it's going to be?
Orion is the spacecraft that will actually fly them to the moon. Artemis is the name of the mission.
Yeah. It's we know that you know, in June is when we think that the sort of structured
again,
training will begin. We'll start right away.
Little ironic. I think Artemis is the Greek goddess of the sun, or maybe Apollo was the god of the sun.
Where they've built the actual hardware, going to the Cape and looking at some of that. We'll probably get into that right away. We know there's a sort of structured training flow that starts in June for us, but the thing to keep in mind is no one's ever flown on this vehicle before. So we're actually testing everything, not just the vehicle, but also the training flow. Like, is this adequate? And if it's not, we have to go figure out what would make it adequate to ensure that the astronauts that come after us, we know what's expected to keep them on the timeline, because they actually have to do more. They have to land on the surface of the moon, right? So we're working through all that. That'll be part of our job. We won't do it alone. We do it with a huge team of people here.
And your fellow astronauts are really happy for you. I mean, I spoke with Joshua and Jenny yesterday, and they're thrilled. You know, you're setting the stage, going ahead. Do you think maybe, you know, one of them might end up walking on the moon?
Yeah. I mean, that's the whole point. So this is like one small step, and then let's eclipse it as quickly as we can, and let's go do something bigger. And you know, both. I mean, the other three astronauts in our Canadian Corps, you know, they're my friends. I have a lot of respect for them. They're extraordinary people. Any one of them could be on this mission. You know, really just primarily just my perspective. But I think, you know, really just comes down to it's my turn to go. He's probably the biggest deciding factor. I don't make the decision, but that's kind of how I think it plays out. Josh and Jenny would do wonderfully in this role. And I look forward to getting them both to space, seeing what we can line them up for, and building the core of the future. You know, we want to see more Canadians going to space. All four of us are excited about building a program that is robust enough that this core needs to grow. And we'll have young Canadians joining us in space.
What do you want to, you talk to kids all the time. You go to schools all the time to talk to them. What would you say to them today about the future?
I would say that we're challenged here on the planet, and I think it's not lost in our youth that there are big big things happening, and they can be a little bit scary. And I would say we have many global problems, and they require global solutions. And so the most important thing is that we have to learn to work together. We have to bring human society together. We're showing you an example, a very visible example of how it's not necessarily easier to work together. It's actually harder to bring a collaboration together. But make that your challenge. And once you get over that hump of working together, then you can ultimately do more. And that's the example we're setting for them. And so it's the same methodology in their life. It's simple. I say this all the time. Set a goal. Know what you want, set a goal. Share it with other people. You will not do it alone. I can guarantee you, you won't succeed alone. You're going to have to be brave enough to share your goals with other people, and that those people will help you achieve them. And that is what we're doing in space. We're setting big goals so big we're bringing an international collaboration together to accomplish them.
And speaking of international collaboration, I mean, it's incredible. We have the International Space Station with international cooperation, but this pales in comparison to Artemis, the Artemis Accords. Countries signed on. Does that make you feel hopeful for the future of international collaboration and expanding outwards into the solar system?
It does, and there'll be challenges on all of this, but the point is that just to understand and have a shared commitment that is important. That it's not important to go alone as a country on this planet. It is important to go forward as a global community on this planet. And to have that shared commitment, that is the most important part. We don't have to succeed all the time. We don't have to have it behind us. We just have to always be aiming for that. I hope that distinction makes sense. But we will fall down, and we are falling down. We are failing. We all fail in our lives. We fail on the planet. The point is not to get stuck on that. It's just to know where we're trying to get to and to say out loud, if we're not doing that, it's not good enough. Let's keep striving.
Thank you. Thank you so much, and congratulations once again.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm Jeremy Hansen. I'm a mission specialist.
I really wish that we could do what he is saying, and I don't. Sometimes I lose hope that it's not possible, or that I lose hope about the possibility of some kind of peaceful international community. But I still somewhere hold out hope for it. Well, my friends, that was really informative. Wow, I really like him. What can I say? Just a very, very smart, affable, intelligent human being. Seems to have a good heart, good head on his shoulders. God bless his family for supporting him in this. God bless his country for supporting him in this. And I'm looking forward to it. Really looking forward to it. I'm excited about Artemis. I really wasn't paying much attention to it. And I'm a, kind of a big space science fiction nerd and science fact nerd, and I've always enjoyed following the space program, but kind of, as I said earlier, hasn't been that interesting unless you're really looking closely, and going back beyond Earth orbit is certainly exciting. So yeah, looking forward to it, and I hope you enjoyed this as much as I did. I will see you soon, my friends, and check out the companion video on the Canadian participation, the moon landing, and the maple leaf in the description. And I will see you soon. Take care, my friends.